Hello, my name is Dr. Scott Young with Hearing Solution Centers, and today we're going to talk about the LiNX 3D versus the ReSound Quattros. Coming right up. So when I want to share with you the LiNX 3D, again, that is a 2016 type of hearing aid. And I remember in late 18 to 2019 about they came up with the ReSound Quattros. And normally when there's a one technology difference, I mean, that was the next generation, there's not a whole bunch of difference. And this has nothing to do with ReSound, it has to do with every single manufacturer. When they do a one generational difference, it doesn't sound as big as some of the manufacturers will make it out to be. But here's one of the things that happened to me when I just went one generation up. And first off, it was a little thicker of a hearing aid, which is not a problem, but it was rechargeables. That was really cool. It would take away some of the moisture issues. So the Quattro definitely made a difference for that one versus the LiNX 3D. But the second thing that happened to me, and I remember this very clearly, I'd be in a restaurant and there's this one called Lone Star. It's in Tulsa, and it's like where they throw the peanuts all over the place. Have you ever seen those kind of places? And the peanuts are like all on the ground. It kind of makes me like, ugh. It's great steak, okay, and they're really nice people, but I just hate the peanuts all over the place. And my wife and son love it, but it is one of the loudest places out there. I mean, they'll have Oklahoma City Thunder games in the background and, OU football in the background, and there's a lot of yapping, and I can't ever really hear, even with my LiNX 3D. I mean, I would struggle. So when I would go into that same place with the same basic app on my phone, I would flip it over, and I wasn't even thinking about the first time I went in there. Went in there the second time, and I'm like, wait a second, how come I'm understanding you better? And I started to really analyze the places that I was seeing a difference. So a scale of 1 to 10, let's say, as a control statement, 10 being, the top dog. Okay, the Quattro's like this. The LiNX 3D, the difference was like a 5 to a 10. It was a dramatic difference. Then I started going backward. Now, I'd already studied about the technology, I knew what they were doing, but it wasn't as obvious inside of the software how cool it was. So it was a dramatic difference. And I've talked to many patients about that thing, that even a couple years could make a big difference. Now, we've already seen, if you've watched some of my other videos, there's one about the LiNX 3D versus the ReSound one that's in 2020, okay? And I mean, that one went up another step. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the Quattro versus the one here in a little bit. But this one here, just one generation on this particular one, was more fantastic than I could imagine. Now, when you go from the LiNX 2D to the LiNX 3D, it wasn't a lot of difference. But when you went from the LiNX 3D to the ReSound Quattro, I was like, holy cow. I mean, I couldn't barely imagine how much better. And the key element was understanding in noisy places. Now, here's the thing that you have to think about. So you're wearing your hearing aids, you're wondering about your abilities to hear and understand, and you're saying, how much better am I going to hear? Guess what the first thing that happens for most of my patients? They complain that they can't understand as well in noisy places. They'll notice that over a few year period of time. And what's happening is your ability, it gets erodes first in the noisy situations, and then in normal speech situations. Let's say you have a group meeting with a homeowners association, or you have a Bible study, or whatever that might be, and you start noticing, I can't hear that guy I used to be able to hear all the time. And that is where you first notice it, first in the noisy places, and then in slightly distant listening situations. And when we went from the LiNX 3D up to the Quattro, which is still an excellent hearing aid in 2020. I mean, we use it for more profound kinds of hearing losses that we put it on. Holy cow, I mean, it's really cool in that capability. So I think there's a lot of great things and this is an opportunity for you to think about. So if you're thinking about that LiNX 3D versus the ReSound Quattro, we see a huge amount of difference in that situation. So I think that's something for you to think about. Consider. If you have questions about it, happy to answer that inside of the comments down below. But subscribe and check us out. Thank you so much.